I'm Andrea Dresdale with ABC News Radio. We're speaking with Michael Emerson, star of ABC's Lost. He plays Ben. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm very well, thank you.
When I told people that I was going to interview you, Michael, people said, "Oh, I love that guy. He's so creepy." Is that typical of the kind of reaction you get from fans?
It is. I think people are kind of delighted to be afraid of me, I guess. But, I think that eventually may go away and that someday I will be revealed on the show to be of a heroic character.
Well, I guess we'll see how that goes. But it seems it must be very challenging to kind of you're playing a character who is in many ways despicable, but people seem to love him anyway. Is it kind of difficult to strike that balance, sort of a lovable villain, a lovable rogue?
No, it's fun to play a character who has such a clear mission and who just has things that he needs to get done. I think when we find out what his real agenda is someday, we'll think that he's actually been a very discreet person.
Well, in this season so far, Ben seems to be in an odd position. He seems to be in a very tough position. He appears to have lost his power. But what we've learned at the end of the second episode anyway is that it's all about him all of a sudden.
Well, Ben is in kind of a tough spot. He seems to have lost all his resources, but this may be a chance for him to shine as an improviser, as a man who can live by his wits. And I think when the going gets tough for Ben, he's going to really get going.
Well, of course, Ben is a champion liar, so I guess it's always anything that comes out of his mouth, we'd never know quite whether or not it's true.
Well, he's not a liar in the sort of conventional sense. I think he's a manipulator and he's a teaser and tester of other people. But it's always in an effort to get information and to get his agenda moved forward.
I've heard Ben described as someone who's playing chess, but he's 20,000 moves ahead of everybody else. As an actor, how do you approach somebody who seems to have all this information, but he kind of just has to let it leak out a little bit at a time?
Well, I think it makes him a cool customer. And a sort of a dispassionate one. He's an observer. He's sort of watching a thing unfold that is already outlined in his own mind. And I think that gives him a sort of eerie quality that the audience responds to.
When people meet you, do they say, "I hate you," or do they try to pump you for information?
Well, they say they hate me, but it's always with a smile, and they're always, they always want to shake hands and talk about the show. So it's all just a sort of symptom of their excitement about this story that they're so attached to.
In this episode that's airing tonight, the flash forward's kind of interesting. What kind of hint can you give me about how this is going to sort of move the story forward?
Well, we're going to see a character or characters who have life after the island, but in an unconventional way that we never would have predicted.
Okay. That sounds tantalizing. Now, what do you think in general of the flash forwards and a dimension they've added to the show this season?
I think it's a stroke of genius on the part of the writers, and I think it is the thing that finally elevates our show into the realm of being a grown-up show with some tragic dimension to it.
Will we see new episodes now that the writer's strike is over? Will we get more Lost beyond the 8 that are already completed?
Yes, my understanding is that we're going to shoot another 5 at least, but definitely 5, so it'll make a total of 13.
Well, from what I've heard, that 8th episode was sort of designed to, be very satisfying in itself, but now you're saying the narrative is going to move even further along.
Well, the 8th episode, like many Lost episodes, has a good button on the end, but it probably wouldn't compare to, what the writers would come up with when they know they're having to wrap up a season. That'll be something cataclysmic,
Are you happy that the show has a fixed ending point somewhere in the future?
Oh, yeah, I love the way that the writers did that sort of throwdown challenge to the world and to the viewership, which is to say, we're not joking here, we're not playing, we know the story we have to tell, we have a master plan, and we're going to wrap it up in this many episodes, so hang on to your seats.
Okay, we'll be watching. Thanks very much, Michael Emerson. And for ABC News Radio, I'm Andrea Dresdale.